Hey, shalom, shalom. First off, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, by Hashem Kwadash. Those are the true names of the Heavenly Father and only begotten Son, Yahweh, meaning He is or He is to be. Okay, that's who the world ignorantly calls God, or Yahweh, or Jehovah. His true name is Yahweh. All right, and Hashem is in the name of Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai is who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Okay, his true name is Yahweh Shai, and the meaning of it is He delivers. Okay, which is an omen for ultimately what He came back to do. All right, what He came, okay, because He was already here in the flesh. All right, and when He's ultimately, which in these coming days, Lord's will, sooner than later, He's going to make His reappearance to deliver the nation, the elect of the nation of Israel. All right, the 1/3 and the rest of the 2/3, all right, are going to be destroyed. Ultimately, that's what the prophecy says. And ultimately they're going to receive salvation by coming back, in the reincarnation, and the elect souls that were elected to be redeemed. Those, they're going to come through their loins. Now, real quick, I just just not I don't want to make this video too long. I just want to look at the word Gentile, and I'm not going to go just too into it, because I mean it's a lot of things pertaining to this topic and to this ultimately this word and this within the different translations, and within the many different languages, whether it be Latin or the Greek, or our main tongue, which is the Hebrew. Okay, that there's a how should I say, a different meaning, not all the way, but when you're applying this word, okay, it can be applied to a couple different meanings, but you have to read with context. All right, because when in today's day and age, when we speak about the Gentiles, we have a conglomerate of people, okay, a sect, all right, which is the majority of this world, these Christians, which believe that the Gentiles are the Gentiles basically can receive salvation, and who the Gentiles are the other nations. All right, but the scriptures tell you otherwise. All right, when we look, like I'm gonna go into, and this is just the Old Testament when you get it in the Hebrew. Okay, when you look at the word Gentile, and I'm gonna get it, and I'm gonna get it in a book, which is ultimately a prophecy pertaining to the Israelites. Okay, and within this chapter, when you're reading with context, okay, we understand that this is a prophecy pertaining to the nation of Israel. Okay, because first, you want to know what? Let's go, before we get into the Gentiles, let's get an understanding real quick. All right, because Deuteronomy 28, understanding that what the curses, when you go to this chapter, of course, it's a list of blessings and curses that will befall Israel. Okay, if they obeyed, if they hearken unto the word, okay, it was prophesied that that we weren't going to be able to. All right, but the one key one that I want to harp on, that goes with the subject at hand, is Deuteronomy 28:64. Okay, so and you got to understand the narrative of the scriptures. All right, because at one point, all right, after we received the covenants, okay, we went through a series of captivities, or being enslaved by different nations, because ultimately that was the punishment. Okay, that's what these curses are all about. It's about the punishment, okay, for breaching, all right, the laws, okay, breaching the contract ultimately, because that's what we made. So this is Deuteronomy 28:64. It says, "And the Lord Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood or stone." Okay, so it was going to come to pass, if we didn't hearken unto the Lord, which we didn't, and it did come to pass that we were going to be scattered amongst all different other nations. Okay, and we will serve who? We will serve other gods. We will be into a lot of different other philosophies. Okay, a lot of different doctrines. All right, and well, not mainly, but of the other nations. Okay, we would cleave unto the other nations' gods. All right, and ultimately, forsake the power of our fathers. All right. So when you look at the word, when you go into this Gentile, and that's the thing. That's why I'm gonna get this one example, and there's many other examples. All right, Isaiah. Let's look at Isaiah 11. Right, which I mean the whole chapter is extremely juicy, and I mean you can get understanding when you go read it from the top. You want to know? We can skim. We can just go down. It says, "And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and the branch shall grow out of his roots." Okay, speaking about the house of David, Jesse being, David's father. All right. So then this is the context is who we're reading about is who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. It says, "And the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him." It says, "The Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and the fear of the Lord Yahweh." It says, "And shall make him of quick understanding." Right, because he dealt with him without measure. Okay, he gave, pretty much gave Yahweh Shai it all right, as far as understanding is concerned. And I mean, pretty much everything, was all, everything was given unto him. He's the firstborn, right? So it says, "He shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of the Lord, and he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, and neither reprove after the hearing of his ears." It says, "But with righteousness shall he judge poor and reprove with equity for the meek of the earth, and he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked," which is speaking about the ultimately his return, okay, and him coming to put down all dominion, all right, that's on the face of this earth. Everybody, all the different rulerships, all the different these different nations, these different kingdoms that are set up in this modern day world that we're living in. Okay, what the Lord is coming to do is he's coming to shut all of this down, and he's coming to basically put his kingdom, okay, usher in his kingdom on the face of this earth. All right. So it says 5, it says, "In righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and faithfulness the girdle of his reins." It says, "The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf, and the young lion, and the fatling together, and a little child shall lead them." It says, "And the cow and the bear shall feed, their young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox." It says, "And a sucking child shall play with the hole of an asp, and the weaning child shall be put his hand on the cockatrice's den." It says, they shall not hurt or destroy in my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord Yahweh as the waters cover the sea." So basically speaking about the period, speaking about the Lord's kingdom, okay, it's going to be complete peace, complete peace, and from every angle, from every avenue, all right. And speaking about our children being able to play with all different, manners of animals, all right, because ultimately our bodies are going to be changed. So us being able to be perfect, okay, because when you go to Wisdom of Solomon 1:15, it speaks about righteousness, being immortal. Okay, so we're going to put, shed this flesh, shed the mortal and put on immortality. Okay, by via what? The new covenant. Okay, the fleshly heart that's going to be placed into us. And likewise, the whole nation of Israel. All right. And it says, "In that day shall a root of Jesse, which shall stand for ensign of the people. It shall the Gentiles seek, and its rest shall be glorious." Okay. Now this is the point, because it's here we see this word Gentile, brought up, and it's like I said, this word reoccurs throughout the scriptures from the old unto the new. Okay, well, when you go into it, right? Let's look at it. It's a Ga, a Wa, and a Ya. Okay, and it's simply means a nation, people. It says usually of non-Hebrew people, it says descendants of Abraham, and then it says of Israel. So depending on the context of what we're reading, what chapter, what book we're reading, you can apply which one of these which one goes to it. And for even more edification, I mean, when you go into the, you go to the lexicon, it goes in, into more detail. Okay, and I'm gonna just jump straight to the point. It says, it says a people. I'm reading up here. Let me see if I can mark it. If I don't think it marks, so it's the number one, right? So after, that first paragraph, the second paragraph says a people prop. Confluence of men from root, what is that? Bawach, I believe. It says prop the seen body, corpus. It says from the root, Bawach, I believe. No, Bawa. Okay, which C says, it says, and then transfer a body, politic, a whole people, compare Latin, corpus, what is that? I can't see that. Republics, I believe. But the point is, this is the right over. It says the general word is general and use of nations at large, and also which should not have been doubted by the interpreters, which is in the parentheses. It says of the Israelites. Okay, and it gives you a list of different precepts when the nation of Israel would be in reference unto Gentiles, because and that's one thing, understanding the narrative of the scriptures, because we were scattered amongst other nations, okay, in which I'm going to read in the next verse. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time, okay, the second time, which is the coming deliverance, all right. This is what these are events that are about to take place, because this prophecy hasn't taken place yet, okay. It says a second time to recover the remnants of his people. Who are his people? Okay, the nation of Israel. All right. It says, which shall be left from Assyria, and from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. All right. It's not really hard to understand, but what it is people have an agenda. People have. I'm not going to even say an agenda. It's this. Ultimately, the people, the bulk of our people were blinded, to receive the true gospel and the true understanding. But here it is, when you bring these scriptures out and you debate Christians, what it is they don't want to accept the truth. Okay, they don't want to accept that the God of the Bible, the God of the Hebrew Israelites, all right, is really particular on who he wants and what he wants, all right. And they think they can compartmentalize, the Lord, and pretty much make him to be what they want him to be, and twist and turn these scriptures. Which that's ultimately how, that's how you chop these Christians down. That's how you chop any doctrine down, man. You go to the word, and you deal in truth, So this is James 1:1. James, the servant of the Most High. It says, in the Lord Yahweh Shai Mashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. Okay, so James being one of the the top apostles. Who is he referencing, or who is he greeting? To the 12 tribes that are scattered abroad. All right. So to the Jew and to the Gentile. Okay, to the to the Jew and to the Greek. All right. All these, to the stranger and so on and so forth. When you hear those I'm gonna say buzzwords, for lack of a better term, for with these different denominations like to include themselves, them that are outside of the covenants, the natural born heathen, the people outside of Israel like to try to join themselves onto the nation of Israel by via those words. But when you get the proper understanding of those words, you see that they only pertain to the nation of Israel. And there's certain things that you can anchor yourself down, because here it is. I mean, the Lord tells you plain, 3, and these are just this is just stuff that, because if what they're saying is that the Lord contradicts himself, all right, which the scriptures don't. The scriptures don't contradict themselves. The Yahweh Shem Yahushua don't. It's Malachi 3 and 6. It says, for I am the Lord, Yahweh, I change not, therefore ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. So the Lord changes not, and the sons of Jacob are not consumed. All right, it's as simple as that. What is that? I was gonna get something else, but yeah, I'm trying not to make this long. Salakia. Of course, isn't that? Salakia. Right. This is Hebrews 13 and 8. It says, Yahweh Shah Mashiach the same yesterday and today and forever. All right. So these are just little precepts. Of course, brothers are well accustomed to knowing these or using these to anchor you down within the understanding, because it's like any argument can be made, but these precepts can't be argued. All right. These precepts can't be argued. The Lord doesn't change. Okay, the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh doesn't change. His word doesn't change. Okay, so how is it that you get scriptures like this, right? This is Isaiah. You get scriptures like this. Straight to the point, 40 and 17, all nations before him are as nothing, and they are counted to him less than nothing in vanity. Okay, 15, it says, behold, the nations are a drop of a bucket, and counted as a small dust in the balance. Behold, he taketh of the isles, and this is a very little thing. Okay, understanding what? That the Lord, the rest of these heathen, or these people on this, upon the face of the earth outside of the nation of Israel, the Lord doesn't care about. The only reason they're there for was to what? To serve us. Okay, you go to the book of Psalms, and that's essentially what they're going to do, starting with our Lord and Savior. All right, right. And I would start at the top. So this is one of my favorite chapters. It's a juicy, chapter. But just straight to the point, it says, this is Psalms 2 and 8. It says, ask me, and I shall give the heathen for thy inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. All right, and then it says, thou shalt break them with a rod of iron, thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. Okay, which links up with what? Which links up with Revelation. And that's essentially what the Lord is coming back. And you see, this is what they don't want to deal with. It's like somebody, okay, you're saying anybody can be saved, whosoever, but who's going to fit that part of, going into captivity, being a servant and a slave unto the first and foremost Yahweh Shah. Okay, but then unto the nation of Israel. Okay, who's going to play that part? Because what you're saying is the Lord, all right, is what? Is contradicting himself, which we know is false. This is Revelation 2 and 26. It says, and he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. Okay, and saying he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and his vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers. It says, even as I receive in my Father. Okay, and this is what's going to play out. This is prophecy. This hasn't played out yet. Okay, so these events that are going to take place, all right, which completely, is against the doctrine of every Christian, man. Of every different denomination out of, the Roman Catholic Church or Roman Catholicism. Okay, the universal doctrine, that's bogus, man. That's a heresy, man. That's blasphemy, ultimately. Okay, it's slander. Okay, it's a filthy lie, and that's why we say, man. That's why they're nothing but devils, man. They're liars. They're slanderers. All right, you lying. You lying on the Lord, ultimately, man, and you coming up against the gospel. So what do? We defend the gospel with the words of the Lord, because what you're saying is contradicting what the Lord is saying. So that's the point, man. The only ones that are going to receive salvation are the Israelites, all right? And then the heathen, okay, the heathen nation, from the self-proclaimed white man, the the so-called Chinese man, so-called Japanese man, so-called Arab, you so-called Ethiopians, whomever you may be outside of the nation of Israel, you're going into captivity. All right, that's the judgment, okay, of the Lord. That's your judgment. All right, and ain't nothing nobody can do about it. I mean, if it was something other than that, we would tell you. We would tell. I mean, if it was something else in the Bible, all right. If if the Lord said something else, we would tell you. But that's not what he's saying. All right. So that's the point, man. I don't want to drag it on. All praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shemi Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect. Shalom.